Whoa, locked and loaded, ready to roll on this Thursday afternoon here at Gulfstream West, day 13 of 40, my friend, if you're keeping track, and we certainly are. Before we get on over to Gulfstream Park for the championship meet, Ron Nicoletti raring to go again, just chomping at the bit, as they say. Jason Blewett, obviously, to his right, as we have a sunny day and fast and firm conditions.
Fast and firm, the Rainbow Six starting to build little by little. We're approaching $20,000 in that pool, and 8 races today, and it should be a lot of fun. And this is, of course, kicking off a great weekend of racing for the Stronach Group. Tomorrow, of course, we got the Stronach 5, but we got the Maryland Million up at Pimlico. At Laurel on Saturday.
Yeah, whole bunch of stakes up there. I know there's a big concert after the races. I think more or less an EDM festival. They should have a big turnout. And you consider the locale of Laurel Park, not too far from College Park. That should be a terrific day up there in Maryland. Stronach 5, of course, tomorrow, as Ronnie just mentioned. And that is the highlight getting into this third weekend in the month of October, if you can believe it. And this will be round number 4 in the Stronach 5. Just a $1 minimum, a 12% takeout. And we're going to puff out our chests a little bit here in Miami Gardens, my friend, because we have not one but 2 races in the mix.
And deservedly so, because they're big, they're turf races, they're a lot of fun to handicap, and it certainly adds to the appeal of the Stronach 5.
Absolutely. First 2 in the sequence, including the opener here at GPW at 4:36, are on the dirt, and followed by 3 turf races and the cash out at Golden Gate Fields. We worked hard putting together a little 20-minute and a fast-moving preview show over at xptv.com. We've also got that up on our Gulfstream Park YouTube channel. Give all those things a follow. Give us a look on social media as well. And here is that all-star ticket. The only rules, my friend, you have to come in under $100. 72 seems to be the sweet spot. That's like the Nicoletti 43.20 in the Rainbow Six.
It is, because you get a couple of chances to take a shot, yet you're not, busting out the bankroll. So I think 72 is really fair for the dollar wager, and you have to go deep in a couple of those races because, as you mentioned, how many entrants in it?
About 60, 59, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just, and you got to try and find that single. If you do, you could pare that ticket down right in half. I personally could not. You'll see my ticket tomorrow.
Yeah, sounds good. Ronnie and I will have dueling tickets here on Gulfstream West today throughout the Friday action as we settle in for the first of 8, and of course a little rundown as to what's on tap. Not only the Friday Stronach 5, but a couple of pick 5s today on this Thursday, October 18th. 50-cent early 5 obviously kicks off in race 1. We await, though, the high 5, and that'll kick off in race 3.
Yeah, race 3. So we got a double wager going on in race 3. We got the rolling super high 5 and the Rainbow Six starting in race number 3. And as I mentioned, approaching that $20,000 mark, going to skyrocket over that today. It's starting getting to the point where, if you hit it, even if you don't get the single ticket, you could bring back $3,000 or $4,000. And of course, we end every day with a final pick 5 of the day, only a 50-cent wager. And we're going to get one today. I got a good feeling you're going to get the late one today.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident myself. Hoping to take down both pick 5s, my friend, early and late, and a pretty good featured 5th race on tap. I mean, that is a turf race, and in fact, it's the cash-out leg to the early pick 5, and you'll even see from my little tagline with my ticket here on Gulfstream West today, that 5th race strikes me, if I blindfolded you and just dropped you off in the middle of nowhere, handed you the PPs and said, hey, what time of the year is this race being run? You might say wintertime, because it's got a championship meet kind of flair to it.
Yeah, it's a really nice race in there. And, of course, I got a horse in there. I got my best bet in there today. But
who's that?
I got Swagger Jagger. Never been beaten here on the turf at Gulfstream Park West. So we'll see how that runs for Mr. Mike Maker.
Yep.
And we'll see if I can get that one home. But I did not single it when you see my Rainbow Six ticket little, because that's a really competitive field.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's as easy as 1, 2, 3 to cash things out in the 4th and the 5th. Really solid 2 lifetime on the dirt actually precedes the Thursday feature in race number 4. Couple of turf unknowns on the ticket along with Chastity, who's 0 for 4 on the grass. One of those 3 looks like the right one in my eyes to win potentially race number 3. Got the single working in the second race. I love Cairo Prince. Big fan of that horse on track for Kieran. Think he's going to be a terrific sire. He's got to get, or she's got to get the distance, excuse me, there in race number 2, stretching out. And how about a 2-horse spread to kick things off in race number 1? And we'll see ultimately just how good the JT Firster is. And JT, obviously, the initials of trainer Jonathan Thomas, who's really one of the game's young guns here on the East Coast. He's got Catholic Boy currently prepping for a start in the Breeders' Cup Classic in about 2 weeks. And he's also got the 6 Cappy Hour, who's by Capo Bastone, debuting here with the Misael.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the board now, and I can see we both put him in second this afternoon. He's gelded son of Capo Bastone, as you mentioned, debuting for Jonathan. Series of okay workouts showing up at the Bridlewood Farm Training Center. It's a freshman, gets Lasix. Got MSCL Jaramillo in the saddle. If this one wins, I would be understand, but I did go like you did with the number 7 Reagan's Hearts. Why? I gave this one the nod because this horse has a race over the track. Ran okay. That was a good track that day. Was listed. Was a wet track. Rory Miller, Sammy Camacho, another great day yesterday. And that was my thought process, just going with a horse that's run over the Gulfstream West track already.
I also like with Regan's Heart the post and early speed factor with this son of With Distinction, who this horse may, not that he needed any help before scratches, but he may have gotten a little bit of an assist with the scratch of the 5, Shanghai Go-Go, in that early speed department. So Regan's Heart for both of us with Sammy from the outside, wrapping up a little bow on Cappy Hour. When is the last time? I know I might be a little more enamored with pedigrees than you. How about seeing Danzig Connection as the dam sire? When's the last time you saw his name in the racing form?
A long, long time ago. Danzig Connection, that's got to go back to about 90s, right?
Mid-80s.
Mid-80s, wow, yeah. And I mean, Danzig Connection, I remember betting him. I don't know much about the sire part, but I remember betting Danzig's Connection.
Yeah, I happen to look because I was just a kid and not a fan, unfortunately, of the game when he ran, but he was the 5th and final of Woody Stevens's 5 consecutive Belmont Stakes winners.
That's right. I forgot that. That's right. Danzig Connection, Woody Stevens. What a feat that was. 5 Belmonts in a row.
That'll never be eclipsed. No one will ever, not even a Bob Baffert will win 5 consecutive Belmont Stakes. Cappy Hour in the first. We'll see how that one does. We'll stay on the main. We're out to 2 turns as we come up on race number 2. It's nice also, and I've got my single here in Abuela's Love, who in terms of speed figures and maybe overall razzle-dazzle per se, looking flashy. She's the filly to beat in this race as she tries to go the mile. It's really refreshing, though, Ronnie, just seeing a 2-year-old allowance race, because there, you talk about Danzig Connection back in the 80s, we used to run, or the game used to have a lot more 2-year-old allowance races than exist now. So it's good to have this cast of youngsters ready to go the mile.
Yeah, and this is a $75,000 optional claimer for these 2-year-olds. It's a pretty nice race here for our second half for the early daily double. And you got the right horse with Abuela's Love. Was pretty impressive last time out.
Yeah, I thought this daughter of Cairo Prince was very good in victory. I like her post with Edgar Zayas, who's coming out of a 3-win afternoon. 18 wins already here at the current meet for Edgar, and he'll be riding for Eddie Plisa. However, you've got a little bit of a potential upset brewing with the 2 Joe Sweetness. What's the story here?
Well, stepping up to face winners and stretching out around 2 turns. In the first start since I thought an impressive maiden score on August 19, she used her tactical speed that day. She defeated a pair of next out winners. And I looked up a stat with trainer Javier Gonzalez with his 2-year-olds going from sprint to route on the dirt. It's not a big sampling, but it's good. 3 for 9, 33%, 78% in the money with almost an even return of investment. And Joe Sweetness sort of was my little sneaky long shot pick today. I just thought this horse, I was impressed with the maiden win, beat a couple of next out winners. Abuela's Love, certainly the one to beat now, but Joe Sweetness looking to get a little bit of a price today.
And it's a good mix, actually. Not a big field in terms of numbers, but as far as horses who we'd like to call JBMs and off maiden wins. And here, just to refresh your memory, is the replay back from mid-September with Abuela's Love. Outside of the JBMs, and we'll talk about a few of the others, because this is more or less just her dominating. There's nothing really to see outside of a filly who's got some speed, has some talent, and has some promise. The other side of the coin, my friend, are horses in this upcoming second, mainly the duo from Arundel Farm, who are dropping out of a bunch of Florida Sire stakes races.
Yeah, and one of those horses, Samoa, is going to face these 75 optional claimers locally if they're failing to really make her presence felt in both those sprint divisions of the Florida Sire Stakes. But it's Stanley Gold. He's got Miguel Vasquez atop this Arundel homebred, daughter of Brethren. Boy, this barn, he's tough to leave off the ticket. So I put the horse right in there, and number 6 Samoa somewhere on my ticket. You got him in second.
I think she's going to run really well. We've seen the Brethrens come to hand as time has gone on, and with that has usually come a stretch out in distance. So if you were to ask me who do I think will really get the distance, it's Samoa. We'll see if she's fast enough, though, to get the top prize in an upcoming second race that really starts off the card strong. And in fact, speaking of strong, we've got a trip back in time, and we're taking a flight to Chile on the other side of this quick timeout.
Whether you're at home or at the track, have a stake in the race when you bet with ExpressBet. Sign up for an ExpressBet online betting account and receive up to a $500 sign-up bonus.
The Fall Turf Festival is underway at Gulfstream Park West. Mark your calendars, because on Saturday, November 10th, Gulfstream will be offering 8 stakes for Florida breds, 3 on the turf, totaling $600,000. There will be 4 races for 2-year-olds, many with aspirations of competing in the winter and spring classics. Don't forget, you can watch and wager on Gulfstream Park West races in our world-class Silks Simulcast Center, located on the first floor at beautiful Gulfstream Park. Join us at Gulfstream Park and Gulfstream Park West on Saturday, November 10th.
Yeah, mark that calendar for sure. Less than a couple of weeks out, more or less, from the Breeders' Cup, and about 3 weeks out from that Millions Prep Day here at Gulfstream Park West. Stakes galore, my friend. And will we have a gigantic Rainbow Six carryover by the time that Saturday card rolls around?
Boy, the handicappers here in South Florida and betting Gulfstream Park West have been awful sharp. They keep hitting this thing. Here's my ticket today. Went $28.80 today, and it went 3 deep in here. And, you know, the number 7, Our Show Girl, is going to try the turf for the first time. I like the tactical speed. I mentioned in the 5th race, as you did, Jason, a really good race. But I'm going with the old horse for course angle, and here's Swagger Jagger. Perfect 3 for 3 on the Gulfstream Park West turf course. Then I got a couple of 6-to-1 shots in race number 6. I got the 5, Wild Winter. Likes this track. 4 starts, 1 win, 2 seconds. And in the next race, the 6, Dark to Harlan. 6-to-1, just whopped the field of 20 maidens last time out. So a little bit of a couple of long shots in my play, if you want to call 6-to-1 long shots. See if I can get this one home for $28.80.
All right, and that opening leg, by the way, of the Rainbow Six with 19 Gs and the Kitty Plus is a 3-and-up filly and mare, $16,000 maiden claimer on the turf, going 5 furlongs. And the surface comes into play because you and I both have a couple of unknowns on the turf on top. I've got the rail horse Saucy Teen, who we'll talk about in just a couple of seconds. Ronnie likes the number 7, Our Showgirl, who's trying the turf today. And we thought we'd go really deep in the vault. Gate Dancer, the dam sire here of the mare. And how about the 84 Preakness with Dick Woolley at the mic, featuring the hooded Gate Dancer.
Up on the outside, it's Gate Dancer coming on. They come through the lane. 3/16 of a mile to run. Gate Dancer has the lead. Along the inside, Fight Over in second place. They come through the lane. 1/8 of a mile to run. Gate Dancer showing the way. Fight Over on the outside, along the rail. Play On coming on with a rush. Here, come on down to the wire. And it's Gate Dancer showing the way by 2 lengths.
Yeah, we thought we'd have a little fun on a quiet Thursday here at this time of the year at GPW. Not only Danzig Connection, but we're going again, as far as the greatest hits go, you don't see Gate Dancer's name too often in the immediate pedigree. What do you remember about him?
Well, I remember my horse. The first horse I ever owned, Karusha, was a daughter of Gate Dancer, and I would never forget this the day that she won her first start right here at Crosstown at Gulfstream Park, and she came in and she was shaking just like Gate Dancer did, and I said, "Look at that!" And she was able to win. Didn't do much after that. She was a broodmare for a while.
Who trained her?
Trained Steve Stanridge.
Okay.
Karusha was her name, and it was now my cousin that was the big owner of the horse. I owned part of it. Was his girlfriend's name Karen? That's Karen in whatever country she came from. I forgot.
Sure.
Karusha. So Gate Dancer. That's my connection.
But the nervousness
Yeah, it
that
was
he obviously displayed, and again, that was where the hood came from
Okay.
with him. That a Hall of Fame trainer, Jack Van Berg, equipped Gate Dancer with, so he couldn't really hear. They were like earmuffs. I guess the apple didn't fall far from the tree, though.
And I always remember that, too, because it was just that one of those, you know, like a little vibrating machine when she was in there. And I think she just ran because she was scared and won, you know,
Yeah.
that day. And they were nice enough to write a little thing in the Daily Racer from Fran LaBelle, actually.
Oh,
wrote
the
it.
great
So
Fran.
It was great.
Nice.
I said, this is the easiest game in the world.
Yep.
Not so.
Not so. But I want you to hit this Rainbow Six, my friend, and what do you like about our showgirl?
Well, this one's making a turf debut at 5 furlongs after chasing the pace and fading to finish a distant fifth. It was the even money favorite that day when facing 40 maidens on the main track. She drops to the 16 level, and I think that's going to help this daughter perspective. And it's sort of like a speed play for me. And, you know, 5 furlongs on the turf, but she's got to prove she can run on the turf.
And that's my sort of MO here in picking the one saucy teen. I love Belong to Me. You don't see his name too often anymore. He's the dam sire of this filly who is by Don Six. Not much turf, maybe oomph with Don Six. He was such a hard-hitting, blue-collar type dirt sprinter. But you get the Belong to Me influence on the dam side, and it just seems, again, tough to quantify. It seems like the Generasios have more turf sprinters that can run a little bit than probably any other breeder and owner that I can think of. So perhaps that'll help the number one saucy teen. In a race, to be fair, Ronnie, we probably have to beat the 3 Chastity, who does have the turf experience.
Yeah, this one's going to debut locally here after ending a turf campaign across the town. She had some trouble. She got checked after the start that day. She finished 5th against 12-5 maidens. And you're absolutely right. This is the one to beat off that previous performance. Ralph Nix has Edgar Zayas named to ride. Emma Ciel's moves to our showgirl. So a little bit of a musical jockeys there. I think those are the logical horses, and we both used, I closed out my Tri-Uria Super with the 4 Tri-Delta Bay. She got speed, but holding that advantage has been tough.
Yeah, she's quick, no doubt. She's got Romero, too, who's been riding lights out here. But again, stamina has been a big question mark with that daughter of Take Charge Indy. Let's move on to race number 4. And again, the Super High 5 jump starts our opening High 5 in race number 3. 4th race, meanwhile, on this 8-race Thursday, kicks off the early bird late pick 5 and a very competitive 2 lifetime dirt claimer to start. Again, very much inside post for me to start things out in the late 5. And my single comes way down the line, obviously, in the 8th race nightcap. Colin a winner, all things being equal. I had to take a peek before we came on. I saw you pick that horse, too.
I did.
He's going to be favored. And to me, it's like, you know what? Just put him in a race where he can win.
Yeah, and the drop to the 16 level is certainly going to help him. So I thought the start of the late pick 5, this 4th race was very competitive.
I like Polygram a lot in the 6th. I'm a little annoyed he ran so well last time out in the slop just a couple of weeks ago because I don't know how good he is in the wet. I think he's a much better horse on dry dirt, and he'll get that on a fast and firm Thursday here at GPW. Blind Ruckus, to me, is my top selection in the 7, taking a needed dip in class. And very good 4th and 5th races to start things out in the late pick 5. Were you at all surprised? Maybe not surprised, but did you struggle to an extent with this 4th race?
Absolutely. I kept going back and forth, and I ended up with the 3 horse in here, Vencero, but I kept going back to Dunk. All the time, this is where I kept going back. I ended up putting that horse in 2nd, but I went with Vencero, who's moving to the Saffie Joseph Jr. barn after that claim, cuts back to 7 furlongs on the main track, duel for the lead, faded when facing similar, going to 2-turn a mile on the turf. Anybody that's followed my analysis over the air, when you show speed going 2 turns on the grass and turn back to 7 furlongs on the main track, that's my angle. That's why this horse is on top.
And this horse from a good post may ultimately be a little faster than everybody in here, including the number 2 Dunk, who is a major centerpiece as far as the nucleus goes to the 4th race field. You think about how tough the game is. You were talking about it. Karusha, was that her name?
Yeah.
You know, easy game. And I'm sure the connections last summer, mid-July, we're thinking, wow, we got a potentially really good Florida bred here by Brethren. Real dynamite maiden win, beating Open Company in mid-July of 17, and lo and behold, that remains the only win in the high watermark for a horse who's dropping in for 25.
Yeah, and I want to show you sort of a cautionary stat on Stanley Gold with the number 2 Dunk. When he has horses going from a route to a sprint, 3-year-olds and upward on the dirt, he's 5 for 57, 9%, 46% of the money, but only that 76-cent return of investment. And that's why I made it 3-year-olds and up, because this was 2-year-olds, it would be a different story in here. So I just wanted to point that out. But Dunk, as I said, came this close. If it wasn't my favorite angle with the 3, Dunk would be on top.
Sounds good. My angle working. I'm hoping it works out. My angle at play with the one past the butter, Giant Race 2 back. I mean, he was about 5-6 lengths the good in that August 30th win over in Hallandale. Didn't run well against a better field that included Apostle, and we'll see Belle Tapisserie coming back here on Saturday. Did you pick that horse Saturday?
Yes, I did, yeah.
Yeah, he's a major player. I think he's going to be favored, too, because he got an 80 buyer and ran really well. Do you potentially, whether it's past the butter or another horse, second time over this track, has that been an angle over the years that you've liked?
Yeah, I mean, you can see I already picked a horse earlier today in the first race. That was the angle I used. I just think this is a unique surface. Even if it's not horses just coming from Gulfstream to Gulfstream West, horses shipping all around. It's more of a sand-based track, a little more tiring. So we see how these horses run. And I found out through the years, many years, if horses run well here, they usually run well here all the time, you know, and they ship in. And some just do not handle it well.
Yeah, we'll see if Past the Butter just despises this track. That's a possibility, but he is dropping down. Faced a tougher field last time out. Moving on to race number 5. This will go as the Thursday feature. And as I was joking around with Ronnie at the top of the show, if you just grabbed the PPs and the track had a big black mark over it and you couldn't see where we were racing, you might think this race, a turf race at that, at 1 mile, was being run during the championship meet. It's a pretty solid field with horses that are pretty darn good. And you've got Swagger Jagger, the Nicoletti BB.
Yes, today, undefeated in 3 previous races on the Gulfstream turf. 3 starts, 3 wins, makes his local return from Mike Maker. The first start, he set the pace. He weakened. That was in the 1 mile, $75,000 Mr. Steele across town. You pointed this stat out to me, and I went back and looked, and that is Mike Baker, domestic shippers, shipping into Gulfstream Park West. He's 20 for 66, 30%, 58% in the money with a big return of investment of $3.48. I actually said to Jason, how'd you find that stat the other day? I'm going to use it again today because I really like Swagger Jagger. I love when horses, we were just talking about that.
Yeah.
3 for 3 here in Gulfstream Park West.
Definitely, and there's a 20 win sample in that stat we're looking at. Mike Maker has won 26 races total in that 5-year span.
Wow.
So 20 of his 26 were first time out, basically coming in off the van. And obviously, that's been a winning move. So I think that's just another potential check mark today for Swagger Jagger. The real X factor, though, to be fair, is a former Group 1 place star in Chile. We've got Layton, who is, again, a very accomplished horse in South America. And we're all about having fun and a melting pot here at GPW. So a little Espanol. We can brush up on our Spanish as we check out this horse's big win in February in the Group 1 El Derby.
A tierra derecha con Layton en el primer lugar. En el segundo por el centro y campeón chileno. Tercero Siamo Fori. Pasa por el centro Tombito al segundo lugar, 400 metros finales. Layton en la delantera aumentó su ventaja, 3 cuerpos sobre Tombito. Tercero Lago en el cielo por el centro, cuarto Yacaré, quinto Siamo Fori. Sexta abierta Penrose. Layton aumentó su ventaja, 5 cuerpos, 200 metros finales. Segundo Tombito, tercero Lago en el cielo, cuarto Penrose por fuera. Layton le mantiene 3 cuerpos de ventaja. Penrose pasa al segundo lugar. En los últimos metros sigue fácil Laytone y gana Laytone por cuerpo y medio. Penrose, tercero galantemente.
That was Ron Nicoletti on the mic there in Chile back in February. You did a heck of a job calling that race, man.
Yeah, I learned everything from our Spanish guys right here at Gulfstream Park West. No, that was a really nice call. And guess who was on the irons?
Hector Berrios.
Hector Berrios and Leotone, of course, now in the Kathy Ritvo barn. So we'll see how this horse runs today. That was quite a good performance.
Yeah, buried that field, and that's one of the biggest races in Chile. And obviously this horse was bought by Dean Reeves for quite a bit of money. His claim to fame, not only that win in the El Derby, he's got 2 second-place finishes behind the Breeders' Cup Distaff-bound Wildcat. Maybe turf in this country will be where it's at for Leotone. Very excited to see how he runs in a very good 5th race. That is a real highlight race on the card. Anyway, race number 6 brings us back to the fast main track. We've got a dated 6250 claimer and a horse both Pete Aiello and myself have been chasing over the last few starts is the number 7 Polygram, who I believe is at his best. I'll put my money where my mouth is at his best on dry dirt, and he'll get that today.
Yeah, he had that recent clash in his slop. Note this gelding is a consistent 5 for 6 in the money at the distance, so you got to like it. Tell you why I went with Wild Winter, and this one is 4 starts here, win and 2 seconds. Returns for Don Robinson after failing to score. It wasn't a not-so-wild summer campaign on the synthetic surface up at Presque Isle. Looking for a little price. It's the old horse for Course Angle. 4 starts here, win in 2 seconds. Figured I'd take a shot, but Polygram's got to be on your ticket along with Over Limit.
Yeah, Over Limit for sure. And it might be narrow, but he's the horse to beat. He should be favored from the inside there for Romero and trainer Peter Walder. Moving on to race number 7, we are on the main track. In fact, our final dirt race here on day 13 of the 40-day fall season at GPW. 2 lifetime 10K claimers are ready to rumble here. I don't love the 3 Blind Ruckus, but I feel like this is a horse at 1 for 26 who's probably, or at least in my mind, he's definitely better than at first blush on paper because he has spent, and he's not my horse, but in my humble estimation, he has spent pretty much his whole career running just quite simply over his head. I really like Ronnie the drop to 10K.
Yeah, I mean, it's really going to help Blind Ruckus today. One of the horses, I have to go back and take a second look, wasn't enamored with his last couple of races.
They're ugly,
yeah,
but it's a big drop.
It's a big drop in there, and I did look for a little bit of a price. I went with Dr. Harlan, who's stepping up to face these non-winners of 2 competition after returning from an extended layoff. He really walloped the field of 10 maidens by 2+ lengths. Giant Dilemma. Number 5, Artist, also on my ticket from Angel Quiros. Want to show you stat on Mr. Quiros. Second after the claim, all levels on the dirt. Why I wanted to show this, he's so strong first off the claim. I was a little surprised with this. 5 for 42, 12% in the money, 48%, $1 return investment. It's just an interesting stat. You see second after the claim. Why? I don't know. I looked it up, and that's what it came up with.
Well, maybe, again, I think Artist, not only is he a major player, I think he'll run well, but perhaps that opens up the door for the 7 Giant Dilemma. If you do get a bit of a step back off his debut for Angel earlier this month, that could potentially open up the door for Giant Dilemma to turn the tables because they're both major players, obviously, coming out of the same race.
Yeah, I mean, Dr. Harlan, like I said, looking for a little bit of a price at 6 to 1. I just thought Giant Dilemma and Artist, they're on my ticket because they're the logical choices to me. Got to go back and look at Blind Ruckus again.
It's just the drop again. 1 for 26, I get it, but he's been big prices and has just been way over his head for the bulk of his career. Race number 8 also has a key drop down, but unlike Blind Ruckus, this drop down on the outside and Cowan a winner, who was nearly called a winner in a race we'll show you, 2 back for him on July 22nd. I think at this stage of the game, he's had some chances. Boy, does he lose a tough one here. I don't want to rub salt in the wound of anybody that needed this horse at over 13 to 1 back on Sunday, July 22nd, but he almost ran too good to lose. And for me, it's Jen Antonucci just saying, you know, we tried the 40s last time. We've given him a couple of cracks at maiden 20. He nearly got it done. Horse on the outside and the white blinkers eventually picks everybody off by a whisker. Let's just put him in for the 16 and get a W.
Yeah, drop it to the 16 level. Return from a couple of month layoff after this race to take the Overland route. Was really wide in that race. Finished 6th. There was those 40 maiden tests at the distance. This is the spot on top of my ticket. Jenna got Sammy Camacho in the saddle today. I went with the number 7, White Sock Wolf in second, listed as a gelding. Switches to the Larry Pilati barn today. Hasn't been seen since up at Tampa. And, of course, you got to have a little Chop Chop Charlie.
I think, personally, I saw Chop Chop Charlie for sure. Should be Chop Chop Chavez. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's going back, talking about blast from the past today. Chop Chop Chavez was a lot of fun when he rode here for many years ago, here and across town, of course, at Gulfstream Park.
Yeah, big Naira fan, obviously. Chavez, Jorge Chavez as well. And a Kentucky Derby winner. Who was this Kentucky Derby winner, trained by John Ward, and ran here, right? I think ran.
Monacos.
Boom. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to call it a day here on the early show.
I got one right.
Yes, you did. I'm very proud of you, and we've got a little Pete Aiello coming up next with those scratches and changes.
His maiden at Gulfstream Park.